Indeed, he should look on his virility as a sacred trust. This is a momentous task in today's society, which not only degrades true virility with its basis in virtue of fatherhood in general, but toys with and mocks procreative powers, while at the same time fixating on crass physical manifestations of masculinity. You know, we have a perverse and superficial, almost animalistic manifestations of manhood all around us. The task is to raise the young man to view immodest or pornographic sites or talk as disrespectful, disdainful, and destructive to his manhood, as well as contrary to Christian values. Indeed, such assaults upon manly purity should evoke passion, not the passion of lust, but righteous anger. Let's look at a few nuts and bolts as how we can instill this into our sons. You know, first of all, they have been trained and grown accustomed in their youth and growing up into what is modest and pure in the ladies and the feminine around them. So our wives should have a modest mode of dress, and we know what that is. We go through this Mary-like standards of dress, wearing the feminine clothes, as well as our daughters, even into their teenage years, and as they grow into young adults. That way, whenever they get out and they see something different, it should be startling almost to them. Say, well, why does this young lady dress in such a way? So after that, after growing with that example, then limiting how much they get out amongst this type of behavior. Avoiding the near occasions of sin for our adolescent boys, adolescent sons. Homeschooling helps tremendously. Let's just think about it. Back in the day, they didn't have, and this is at a time when girls used to dress much more modestly, but even still, they didn't have them sitting side by side in the same classroom. They weren't even in the same building. And sometimes not even, the buildings weren't even on the same block. Schools totally separate from each other. And we had much more of a civilized society at the time. Why would that be? It makes sense not to put them in that situation, especially during those years. So homeschooling helps quite a bit to guard against how much they're exposed to this. So if they're not getting out amongst it, then what's coming in to the house where they are? Television, we just cut the cable again because it's just substandard. Just what's coming through there doesn't meet the grade. So if we have a standard of dress that we say is acceptable for ladies, we shouldn't be also partaking of it on the screen, limiting what we see there. Because we start to warm up to it. Whenever we start to say, oh, that's okay, and that's okay, and that's okay. It's like the frog in the pot of water. You know, you throw the frog into a rolling, boiling pot of water, he'll jump right out. But you put him in a nice lukewarm pot of water, and then you just gradually crank the heat up there on him. He'll just ball himself to death. We're like that too. We just warm up to things if we allow ourselves to be around them. Sometimes you got to go out though, but you can't hardly go to Walmart with what you're going to see. So our sons should be trained with custody of the eyes. Again, it should be almost shocking what they see, and it should make them turn away, which is a good habit to form. These are the methods of formation. And finally, training them not to trust themselves. Because as I said, before, you might say, well, one of Satan's favorite things to hear is, I can handle that. That doesn't bother me. That won't affect me. Because then he knows he can hook you. And then he'll just reel you in.